term insurance basically terminates. And if you reach 80, it goes away. Okay. Now, for some people, that's enough to piss them off. All right. But for others, we need to explain to them. We need to back the hearse up, like we like to say, and see what happens and visually describe to them what happens when they actually have a plan like this and hit 80. So I like to go into the term section and say things like, look, you probably heard of AARP, right? They do what's called term life insurance. And what term is, if you remember one thing, is term terminates. And do you know what I mean by that, Mr. Prospect? That means, Mr. Prospect, when you hit 80 years old, that plan's done. It's canceled. And all of that money you put into this, it's gone. It's in the pocket of AARP and New York Life. You have nothing. You don't have coverage to protect you. And your family is sitting around with their hands in their pockets, wondering how are they going to pay for dad's burial? Now, who in the world would want a plan like that if you think about it, right? Yeah. So that type of explanation is getting more into what are the consequences or the implications of the facts, right? So you explain the facts to him, Bobby. This is a term plan. It terminates at 80 and the prices go up. But let's then take it a step further and describe the pain they will feel, right? When they're in a situation to where, they actually have it. Can you imagine what would happen if you were 80 years old and worse shape, and then you get that dreaded letter from the mail that says that your policy is canceled? How would that make you feel? It's terrible, isn't it? Or how would you feel if you're paying $50 a month and then at 76, a year later, you're paying 140? Happens every day. Is that the kind of insurance you can trust and depend on, Mr. Prospect? So you can see how does it feel? How do you think your family would feel if they took that policy into the funeral home thinking AARP has gotten covered, but oops, the funeral director says it canceled at 80 and your kids have nothing. So a visualization of walking through that experience is extremely valuable to add on to that logical explanation of what the fine print says. Does that make sense?